Hi kids, this is Ivan. I'm going to talk about a potentially controversial and explosive subject, and this is character customization. This is something where people get a little heated about occasionally. Now it's evident that as gamers we have different play style preferences. Some of us like low levels of customization or almost no customization, and some of us thrive on a high level of customization. And when I did a video on feats, a YouTube member named Ivanto Filho, and if I pronounced your name wrong, I'm sorry, dude. He just asked me, geez, I like the old school games, but there's not a lot of mechanical differences between, two characters of the same class. What's up with that? How do you address that sort of thing? So I'm going to start off first by saying that, look, it's okay if you like a high level of customization, you want to play a game that does it. I don't think that's wrong or bad. That's fine. We can have different preferences. But I think it's beneficial for us to talk like reasonable adults, and even though we might not convert each other, we can kind of understand where the other person is coming from. Now, I personally prefer a kind of low to low-mid level of customization. And I'm going to talk mostly from a D&D perspective because that's the game I like, that's the game I'm comfortable with. But it's evident that D&D has definitely changed over time from original D&D, all the way through basics and advanced through 3E and Pathfinder now and 4th edition. And it's gone from like almost no customization whatsoever to like an extremely high and technical level of customization. So first off, I'm going to just go over like what I do in my game, and then kind of end up with a bit of an analogy, which I think will at least make sense to you, or like give you an idea of where I'm coming from. Now, for the most part, I'm fine like with ability scores. That is a lot of customization right there. In original D&D, they really didn't mean that much, but with the ability scores and the modifiers, that helps out quite a bit. I'll let you choose your class and your race if you want to, arrange your stats to taste. In most cases, that's fine, so you can kind of come up with an idea of what you want and then build it from there. If you want to choose your sex, your height, your weight, your eye color, your hair color, all that kind of stuff, go ahead. If you want to roll for it, go ahead. That might be funny, but, go ahead. Choose what you want to be like. I don't use a comeliness stat, but I kind of think in the look stat from Hackmaster is kind of funny, so it might be neat to roll 3d6 just to see how ugly you are. That would be kind of entertaining for the heck of it. First edition DM Guide has a list of secondary skills. It's kind of short, but generally when I have a player coming to me with a character or whatever like that, I'll let you choose a background. I'll let you choose like some kind of background skills you might have, an old profession or something like that. I'll use a little veto power maybe, but if it doesn't fit the campaign or it's a little crazy that you're asking for too much. But for the most part, if you want to say, yeah, I was a wheelwright, or I did this, or I helped on farms, go for it. That's not going to break my game. So you can kind of bring in a lot of secondary skills. But I like a lot of skills other than that to be class-based. Things, a ranger or druid is really good at finding food in the woods or being able to build shelter, that sort of thing. Magic users would be really good at identifying a whole bunch of stuff, in terms of magical creatures and weird junk and spell components and all that sort of thing. If you want to in my game, if you want to use the percentage point buy system in terms of like second edition thief skills where you kind of assign where your points go for your thief abilities, go ahead. That doesn't bug me. You can specialize in weapons as a fighter. As a magic user, you get to find your spells and kind of you might have to look for them, but you can have your signature spells, and ditto for a cleric. They can kind of use signature spells. The magic items you collect may or may not help define you. And I'm open to a simple skill system, and I'm still kind of working on that. But like I said, I like a lot of skills to be class-based for the most part. And, of course, you can choose what you wear and carry and all that stuff. But to me now, character customization doesn't really happen on a piece of paper and what the numbers are. Character customization happens in here. It's your vision for what the character is. It's how you play that character. If I take a character sheet to a con, if I use a pre-gen character, I've watched people play my character from a Pathfinder game and play him completely differently. And I've played other people's characters, and just it's a different character just because you're putting a different face on them. So to me, I'm kind of like overlaying. What do I want this guy to be like? What's his deal? And I'm putting all that stuff over the piece of paper, and I'm looking at the piece of paper when I need a number, when I have to roll something, then I need to know what my modifier is or something like that. But, I'll give you an analogy. I own a really nice collector's item, old school Tobias base that's like, from 1986, and it's worth a lot of money. And when I play that base, I can make it sound like anything I'd like it to. I can play funk, I can play jazz, I can play hard rock, I can play soft rock, I can play R&B, I can play all kinds of stuff. And even though it's the same bass, I can make it sound differently. I can put my stamp, like, what kind of song or what kind of tone am I supposed to get for this song. And ditto, I was over to practice the other day, and the guy who was hosting it had bought his grandson this half-scale bass. It was like a little toy, and I plugged it in, and guess what? I sounded like me at the practice because I'm just playing the parts. And yeah, it might sound a little different because the bass doesn't have quite as good ability scores. It might have had all 6s instead of 18s, but it still sounded like me because I kind of put my stamp on it. And that's kind of how I treat character customization. It's not the numbers. The guitar players have a saying, it's not the wand, it's the wizard. And it's often very true. The customization, for me, happens in your head and how you play the character.